All right, welcome back to the shop. Today we are moving on to finishing our cabinets. I have all 1,536 holes drilled for the adjustable shelves for all the cabinets. I have it sanded up to 180 grit, and I took the time to tape off all the rabbets and dados because glue doesn't stick very well to finish, so that way those guys are protected. One of the main questions I get here on YouTube is what is my go-to finish, and that is a conversion varnish. This is what I use on almost all of my furniture pieces. Now this finish is not really a hobby style finish or hobby level finish or a DIY level finish, and that's mainly because of the high VOC content. So you might not even be able to get this in the state that you live on depending on the regulations of your state. So for this video, I have about a half a gallon or so left over of this Sherwin-Williams lacquer. And this is a pretty good spray finish to start out with. So we're going to use this as our demonstration today. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is determine what size needle you need in your gun that goes with the viscosity of finish you're spraying. So to determine the viscosity, you can look it up. Most manufacturers that are worth anything will have a technical data sheet that tells you what the viscosity is, or you can use a measuring cup and measure it, and depending on how fast the finish flows out that measuring cup will determine what your viscosity is. So for this finish, they say it has a viscosity between 21 and 25 seconds. So it took somewhere between 21 and 25 seconds to flow through that viscosity measuring cup. All right, so when I look at my chart here, for the Ford measuring cup, it tells me a 1.3 millimeter tip will handle 15 to 19 second run out time. A 1.4 millimeter will handle a 19 through 23 second run out time. On my finish, it says 21 through 25. So this might be a little bit too thick for my 1.4 millimeter tip. So that's when thinning comes in. I'm going to thin this finish so it runs out at under 23 seconds or somewhere between 19 and 23 seconds. So when you look at the instructions of this Sherwin-Williams, it says you should not thin it out for more than 5%. So if you have to thin this more than 5% to get it to the viscosity that'll go through your gun, you need to move up a tip size. All right, so now I know that's a lot of technical information all at once, but that is the proper way to determine what size of tip you need to go with the finish you're using and how much to thin that finish to go through your gun. All right, so now the next thing you want to think about is if you need to slow that finish down by using a retarder. And the reason why you might want to slow your finish down is a couple of reasons. So one reason to slow the finish down is you might be working in a hot, humid area and the finish is drying really fast, trapping that humid moisture inside the finish, which could cause it to be hazy. And so that's an undesirable effect. So if you slow it down, that moisture has time to evaporate out of the finish before it cures. Now, another reason to use a retarder is if you are spraying in a really dry climate and it's setting up really fast and you are having trouble maintaining a wet edge, especially on a large piece. Sometimes throwing a little bit of retarder in there to slow it down will allow you to blend in your passes a little bit easier on larger pieces. And then I often find that if I use this a little bit anyways, it just gives me a little bit more time to let that finish settle and flatten out so I get a nice glass smooth finish every time. So I will almost always use a retarder regardless of what my application is or temperature or humidity. All right, so now that we have determined what size needle we need to use in our gun and we have our finish all mixed up with the right amount of retarder and thinner to match this needle, let me show you how I set up my gun. All right, so I got the right cap size to go with this needle, and so I'm going to just push the needle in there. Then we have a little spring right here, and this right here is our fluid control knob. I'm going to get it started here. All right, and now I'm going to hold the trigger down and I'm going to tighten this up until I feel the trigger start to move and get pressure. So right about there, it's starting to push onto the trigger. So now I know that this is set at the maximum amount of fluid that will go through the gun. All right, and my gun has a regulator on it that allows me to adjust the pressure at the gun so I can adjust the pressure on the fly. If your gun does not have this ability, I would add it or throw your gun away and buy one that does have it. This is incredibly important to dialing in your gun. So I'm going to turn the air all the way down to where it is off. And this is where I'm going to start. All right, straining your finish is an absolute must. Even if it's a brand new can, I'd still strain it. It only takes one little dingleberry to plug up the gun and ruin your finish job. So always strain your finish, and these are a one-use application. It's kind of like a condom. Once you use it, you've contaminated it. So as soon as you pull that out, it's starting to dry on the outside. And so if you use it again, a little dried, crusty piece is going to fall in your spray gun and plug it all up. So throw that on there. Pour our finish in. All right, so I have a black backdrop set up, so hopefully you'll be able to see the fan as I adjust it against this black background here. All right, so if you remember right, I have the fluid control set at the highest setting, so the maximum amount of fluid is coming out. I have my air dialed all the way down, and now I'm going to set my fan so it is at its widest opening. This gun has a micro adjust on the fan, so I can have it completely wide open or micro adjust it down to a very narrow little piece. If your gun doesn't have that, I would throw it away and get a gun that does. All right, so I'm going to squeeze the trigger and slowly increase the air until I get a good clean atomization and a full fan. So hopefully you'll be able to see that happen, and once I get a full fan, then I'm going to stop. All right, so hopefully you're able to see it grow to a full width fan against the black backdrop. All right, so now our gun is set up at the maximum flow, the maximum fan, and the maximum air pressure. So now, just to get a feel for the gun, you want to do a couple of test sprays just to see how your finish looks. So when you're spraying, you want to look to see if it's too thick, if it's runny, if it's too thin, if it has a weird texture to it or an orange peel texture to it. And then you'll want to adjust your gun accordingly. So, and when you spray, make sure you stay parallel to your work surface. You don't want to spray and swing your arm out this way and swing your arm out that way, because all you're going to do is put a heavy amount in the middle and light areas on the outside. So if this was a workpiece this big, you'd want to start your gun off the workpiece, spray all the way across the workpiece until you ended up off the workpiece on the other side, and then release the trigger. So I'm just going to give it a couple of test sprays here. I'm going to flip this around so you can see it better, I think. The backside was a rough texture, so I don't think it showed up very well. And so since I'm spraying water at the moment, it's running pretty quick. But if this was actual thinner, you'd want to examine this. If this was running, of course, since we're at the maximum amount of fluid, you'd want to dial that down. All right, so to get a feel for it, on the minimum side, I'm going to adjust my fluid knob all the way down until it's off. So now when I spray, nothing's going to come out. And then I'm going to readjust, open my fluid knob, holding the gun down, holding the trigger down until I get a full fan again. All right, so now you're at a full atomization, but the minimum amount of finish that's coming out of the gun. So now you can do a couple of test sprays to see how that looks and feels. So you do your test spray, you analyze it again to see, is it too thin? Am I getting a weird dry texture or whatnot? All right, so since this is just water being sprayed out of this gun, it's running like crazy, but you get the idea. Once you go through that exercise to see what it feels like to spray at the maximum, and then go through it again to see what it feels like and looks like to spray at the minimum, then you're going to be able to find the sweet spot someplace in the middle. So if you spray at the minimum and you think you need a little more finish, a little more fluid, and you start to open it up. So if you're at the maximum and you start to dial it down and you're getting too much overspray or a weird texture in the finish, maybe you need to start to dial down the air a little bit. So from this point on, it's just a matter of finessing the gun. You know what your maximum volume is, you know what your minimum volume is, you know what your maximum air pressure is, you know what your minimum air pressure is, and then you just finesse it in until you get a nice, clean, smooth finish. So when you're spraying a clear finish, as you're spraying, it should look like a perfectly clean piece of glass going down. Shouldn't have any kind of runs or ripples or any kind of texture. Then once you've achieved that, you know you have your gun dialed in, you know you have your finish thinned properly, and you know you're using the right tip for the gun. All right, I'm getting set up here. I got all my parts laid out in the rack so I can just swap them out as I spray. If you want to build this rack, I have a video for that guy. I'll put a link to that somewhere. Got my safety equipment there. my spray station set up, ready to go. And then I have an explosion proof series of fans behind these filters. If you don't have a dedicated spray booth, I just recommend spraying outside. One thing you don't want to do is, whoa, blown out exposure. All right, one thing you don't want to do is put a fan in the door blowing air in, because that's just going to stir up all the particulates inside here, which will cause that stuff to fall and dry on your finish, on your wet finish, and create a mess. So you want it to pull all that stuff out. So you want your fan to be facing out, and of course you want it to be an explosion proof fan so bad things don't happen. So I'm going to get set up here and just spray these guys up so we can get them assembled. All right, I have my gun loaded up, and I'm going through that exact same technique that I just showed you to dial in the fluid control and the air pressure and my fan pattern. All right, and whenever I spray, I always start with the edges first and then come back and do the top. If you do it the other way around, you can end up with a ton of overspray and a rough finish on the top surface. And then I always start closest to me and I work my way towards my fan, so that way the fan is drawing the overspray out, and so that way I'm not having the fan draw the overspray across my finish. And then while I'm spraying, I'm always overlapping my pattern at least a third to a half. All right, so since this is just the first coat, I'm not being too overly concerned about my exact settings. I'm going to use this first coat to dial it in, because this first coat you're going to do a little bit of sanding to sand it back a little bit before you apply your next coat. So it's a good practice coat to dial in the settings. So I'm watching as I spray. I see that I have a lot of extra overspray, so my fan pattern might be a little bit too wide. So I'm going to start to dial that in just a little bit so I don't have as much overspray on the edges, and also start to reduce the amount of air just a little bit because that's probably contributing to the amount of overspray as well. And then I need to replace my fan filters. They're getting pretty caked up, so it's not drawing the overspray away from my workpiece. So before I do the second coat, I'm probably going to replace those guys so that way I don't have any overspray set in. Like I said before, I start towards me and work away from me towards the fan, so that way the overspray gets sucked out of the building. It doesn't have a chance to go across my freshly sprayed finish. So this way it'll leave a perfect, nice, clean finish when I'm done with minimal sanding. All right, thanks for watching. Next, we get these cabinets assembled and start building some tool storage holders. So hit the subscribe button for that.